5 Outdoors is sponsored by Arkansas Game and Fish Commission.
Most people don't even know that scuba diving on Beaver Lake is a thing, but those that do know it's a real treat. I found the folks at Beaver Dam Dive Shop to help me get going. From equipping me with all the right gear to the actual training itself, this is a destination for divers locally and from many surrounding states. But as excited as I was to get going, we gotta go to class first. First part of scuba certification is classroom work, which, yes, does mean a little bit of homework, but it's all about the basics: pressure, buoyancy, and breathing. You know, the science that keeps you from turning into a human balloon at 30 feet below. The cool thing about the coursework is it's all done online, at home, at your own pace, and for me, I did an hour or two of studying each night for about a week. Then I called up Tony over at the dive shop, and next thing I know, she's got me hooked up with Roger and Shauna Wright, husband and wife duo who are ready to teach me all things scuba. But first, it's time to pay the dive tax to Dixie the dive shop dog.
Now please feed the dog. Please feed the dive dog.
Dixie, you are the cutest dog ever. Okay, one more. Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Here's one.
Okay. Oh, we're gonna think of skipping that.
We're feeding popcorn to the dog. It's all good.
Here's some popcorn. Oh, you caught it. Okay.
I was like,
I could do that all day.
Now it's time to trade in the books for the pool. Here, I'm about to breathe underwater for the very first time, and honestly, I'm both excited and mildly terrified. This is where you learn all the stuff that could save your life later: clearing your mask, sharing air with a buddy in case of an emergency, taking off your gear, and trying not to panic about it. It feels weird at first, no question about it. Your brain says, nope, this is where we drown. But your regulator and your gear says, trust me, I've got you. Pool training is where the magic happens. It's safe, it's shallow, and it's where you learn to trust the gear and yourself. You start with the basic task: how to breathe steadily through a regulator without sounding like Darth Vader, how to defog your mask, how to clear it of water if it floods mid-dive, because yes, that does happen, and no, that doesn't mean you're about to die. You rehearse what happens if your buddy runs out of air, how to donate your backup regulator, sharing a single air supply and ascending calmly to the surface. It's weirdly intimate. It's basically a scuba trust fall at 10 feet deep. We also practice taking off our BCDs. These are the vests that holds your tank off and putting them back on underwater. Essentially, it's underwater yoga with 40 pounds strapped to your back. Oh, and then there's buoyancy control. This one takes some finesse. Too much air in your vest, and you shoot to the top like a cork. Too little, and you sink like a lead cannonball. The goal here is to hover neutrally, just like an astronaut who smells faintly of neoprene. Why is all this important? Because when you're out in the open water, say 30 feet down, you need these things to be automatic, second nature, muscle memory, if you will, because there's no room for panic. Pool training is where you erase the panic. By the end of the day, you're not just surviving underwater, you're actually starting to belong there. The pool may be shallow, but what you gain right here runs deeper. Now it's time to see if all these pool skills translate to the real thing. We're off to Beaver Lake for my open water certification dives. This is where it gets real. No pool walls, no lifeguard, just me, my dive instructor Roger, and whatever's lurking in that water. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little nervous. The water, not as clear. The gear feels a little bit heavier, and suddenly every single skill I learned at the pool starts leaking out of my brain like a punctured BCD. I kept thinking, what if I forget something? What if my mask floods and I panic? What if I can't equalize my ears and I've got to abort the dive? And through it all, my instructor, calm, patient, steady. Roger, just like a scuba whisperer. Every time I surfaced with a question or fumbled a skill or forgot which hand to use, there he was, just giving me that nod. Hey, you're okay, you've got this. But once we're down below and the initial heart-thumping anxiety fades, it all starts to transform. The beauty at the bottom of Beaver Lake is calming. The rocks, the fish, the dancing rays of sunlight through the water, beds of aquatic plants waving slowly like underwater prairie grass, sunken forest, fish highways, light filtering through the water just like stained glass. I'm telling you, it's surreal, and it's all right here in our backyard. As if that wasn't cool enough, Beaver Lake is home to a dive park. No, really an actual park. It's a network of things to see and explore, from sunken jet skis and boats, old VW bugs, and even a piano. It's all starting to click for me. Now I understand why so many people drive right here to Beaver Lake to dive from all the surrounding states. In fact, they actually need a traffic light down here. I ran into multiple other divers, all of which were very kind and all enjoying this treasure. On one of our dives, Roger spotted something unusual. It wasn't a fish, it wasn't a bottle, but it was a painted rock. But not just any painted rock, it was a story, a memory, and a legacy. Brightly colored and hand decorated with a little message and a QR code. It was a Shelby rock. It's a traveling tribute to honor Shelby J., a young woman from Norman, Oklahoma. After scanning the QR code, I learned that Shelby was a big sister, a friend to everyone she met, and at just age 16, she made the selfless decision to become an organ donor. Her words were, and I quote, "Well, if I'm gone, I'm not going to need them anymore." Tragically, just months later, in January of 2019, Shelby and her high school boyfriend were killed by a driver in a crash on their very first date. She was only 17. Roger found this rock, and now I'll take it with me to continue her story. I've got a trip planned later this year, and I already know the perfect place for Shelby's rock to continue its journey around the world. Oh, and the fish. So many fish. I'm talking whole schools of perch darting in and out of the brush, curious bluegill giving me that side eye, and the bass. Big ol' bass. And a few good-sized catfish just cruising by like underwater linebackers. I'm telling you, it was beautiful. It was like watching a living aquarium that you didn't even know existed in your own backyard. Now, no doubt enjoying and admiring the fish from an entirely new point of view, but also thinking about the whole point of this adventure. We gotta go spearfishing. It won't be too long before I'm back down here with a spear gun. But in the meantime, it's back to Beaver Dam Dive Shop to wrap things up after passing the e-learning and a full Saturday and Sunday in the pool and in the lake with Roger and a little bit of paperwork. I'm finally a scuba diver, officially certified to breathe in places where humans were never meant to go, and I only swallowed a reasonable amount of lake water. As is tradition at the dive shop, I get to sign the bell, which is made from an old scuba tank.
Oh, he's like holding his ears. Oh, get a shot of him holding his ears. Are you on the outside? Yeah. Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's loud. Ooh. I get it.
The day has finally come. I've got the tank, I've got the wetsuit, the weights, the mask, the fins, and the spear gun. Time to become an underwater version of Daniel Boone. You see, spearfishing in Arkansas isn't something you hear about every day. That's because it's only allowed in certain lakes and only during certain times of the year. The Arkansas Game and Fish Commission does keep a tight leash on it. The regulations exist for good reason. You have a real advantage underwater. So this isn't your typical cast and prey operation. This is point and shoot, but only if you're calm enough not to scare off every fish in a 20-foot radius. But still, I was certified, geared up, and I was ready to try. After a quick stop at Starkey's Marina, huge thanks to them for lending us a pontoon boat, we're off, tanked up, geared up, and buzzing with adrenaline because today, it's not just a dive, it's a hunt. We drop anchor at the first location, and within minutes, bam! Roger spots a school of walleye. Me? Well, I never saw him once, but eagle-eyed Roger did, and he takes a beautiful shot, smooth and clean, and just like that, we're on the board. But walleye are fickle. You get one shot and they ghost you into deeper water. So we follow the thermocline, that mysterious underwater zone where the warm meets the cold, because that's where the fish like to chill, literally. We spotted a ton of bass, big ones, curious ones, bold ones. But the bass weren't on the menu today. In fact, regulations strictly prohibit the taking of brown bass by spear. It's almost as if they knew. They were swimming up to us, taunting us, saying, "Hey buddy, you can't touch this." I'm talking they're underwater trolls. The habitat here, however, is textbook catfish territory. Brush piles, mud shelves, all things that point to whiskers live here. But yet, not a single catfish. So back to the boat we go. A quick snack, a sip of water, and then it's back into the abyss. The next site was new territory. Roger Patton dove it. I hadn't even never seen it on a map. So we dropped down with curiosity, cranked all the way up to 11. Bass again. So many bass. But the most interesting thing here, sunken Christmas trees. Really, you know those living Christmas trees that AGFC collects after the holidays to build fish habitat? Let me tell you, it works, and I saw it with my own eyes. Every single one of those trees had bass swarming it like it was Christmas morning all over again. But this dive, well, it came with a twist. Visibility tanked. We went from seeing 10 to 15 feet to maybe 3 to 5 at times. I was literally reaching out to touch Roger's tank just to make sure I wasn't drifting into the unknown. A little anxiety-inducing, yeah, but also kind of thrilling at the same time. It's like underwater hide and seek with nature. Plus, I knew I was trained for it, and Roger's calm confidence, of course, helped a ton. But still, no catfish, no walleye, just trees, bass, and bubbles. At this point, if we were still holding out hope for a fish fry, we didn't need a bigger catch. We needed divine intervention like New Testament level fish multiplication. So we hit a third dive site, then a fourth, in and out of the trees, back through the thermocline, searching and hoping, but nothing. What started off with a bang quickly fizzled. Our tanks were running low, our stringer was bare. Sure, a cooler full of fish would have been nice. But here's the thing, spearfishing is hard. Even with the gear and the visibility and the training, you're still playing by nature's rules. Through it all, I saw more of Beaver Lake than I ever had before. Not just the surface that we know from boats and docks, but the hidden world beneath. Quiet, beautiful, full of life and mystery. It's wild, it's unpredictable, and the deeper I went, the more hooked I became. There's something humbling about exploring a new place that's been here long before you and will be here long after. It really makes you appreciate how fragile and important it is. This lake for us, it challenges us and it teaches us, but only if we're willing to look beneath the surface. Whether I came home with a full stringer of fish or not, I walked away with a deeper connection to this incredible place, and that's the real catch. With our tanks drained and the sun starting to dip, we made our way back to where the day started, the Beaver Dam Dive Shop. And while we didn't come back with that cooler full of fish, we did have that one prize walleye, so we have a plan to clean it up properly. Roger, in fact, cleaned it up. I stood there offering moral support, holding the Ziploc bag, of course, because we all have our own roles. And because Roger is not only an excellent diver and an instructor, he's also apparently a saint because he sent me home with that fish, that one fish that made into 4 nuggets. 0 complaints from me, by the way. Thank you, Roger. It was the best 4 bites of walleye I've ever had. If I'm one thing, I'm stubborn. I'll admit it. So after coming home with only that one walleye after the first trip, I knew that I wanted another shot at spearfishing. I'd learned a lot on that first trip, but now I wanted to see whether I could actually put those lessons to use. So Roger and I decided to return to a spot where we had seen several walleye during a recent fun dive. We weren't fishing that day, but we made this mental note of where we saw the fish, and as it turns out, they were still there. Almost immediately, there they were, the walleye. The opportunity, it was there. But the skill, at least for me, Yeah, admittedly, it was still a work in progress. I took several shots and missed every single one of them. My aim was just off. I was pulling the trigger too soon and quickly learning just how difficult depth perception can be underwater. A fish may look close enough, but once the spear leaves the gun, you find out very quickly your eyes were probably not telling the truth. Eventually, though, something clicked. I slowed down, I waited for a better opportunity, and finally landed my first walleye. That alone would have made the trip a success, but as it would turn out, we were just getting started. Roger and I moved to another part of the lake, and for about 15 minutes, we swam without seeing a single fish. Just water, rocks, and a lot of nothing. Then, almost out of nowhere, there they came. We were in the middle of huge catfish. Roger took the first one. Not long after that, he added another walleye. Meanwhile, just about 20 feet away, I found a group of large channel catfish hanging around a pile of rocks. I motioned for Roger to come over, and without being able to say a word, we worked out a game plan. He would take one, I would take the other, and then suddenly, bam, things get intense. We lined up our shots, both connecting, but these weren't small fish. One of them looked like it was pushing close to 10 pounds, meaning it put up a fight. It was at that point the adrenaline was pumping. But the air in our tanks, well, as a result, it was dropping fast. Excitement makes you breathe harder, and underwater, well, every breath matters. We knew it was time to turn around and begin that long swim back to the shore. Roger had stringer duty, which meant he also had the pleasure of dragging that heavy mess of fish behind him the entire way back.
Can I take a picture of y'all with your fish?
Oh, yeah.
We cannot believe that y'all just put those out of there.
Once we finally reached the surface, we were on cloud nine.
That spear tip.
Yeah, the ones that got away are always bigger than
That's
the
right.
ones you bring back.
Hey, but they all had a pretty big fight.
For the first time, we could actually talk about what had happened. We replayed the missed shots, the fish we found, and the moment everything finally came together. This time we came home with more than just one walleye. We came home with a full stringer and of one very important question. What do you do with that much fish? The answer? Well, you call the weather team. I invited everyone over for a good old-fashioned fish fry and cookout. It was the perfect way to welcome the newest member of our weather team, Dominic Carrico. Fresh walleye, catfish, and a story that tasted a whole lot better than the first one. Proving stubbornness sometimes can pay off. Something unexpected happened over the course of this journey. Somewhere between the classroom and the thermocline, between fumbling through mass clears and hovering over sunken Christmas trees, I fell in love with scuba diving, and I made some new friends along the way. There's just something about being underwater. It's quiet, it's still, there's no phones, there's no traffic, just breath and bubbles. Every single dive seemingly slowing the world down, every single dive clearing the mind. But the piece of it isn't the only thing that keeps drawing me back. It's the wonder and the awe, the very fact that just beneath the surface of Beaver Lake lies an entire world that most of us never see. It's a world worth knowing, and most importantly, it's a world worth protecting. Beaver Lake itself is a marvel. Completed in 1966 by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, it was created by damming the White River, resulting in over 28,000 surface acres of clean, spring-fed water stretching across Benton, Washington, and Carroll counties. It's not just for play, though it's amazing for that. Beaver Lake supplies drinking water to hundreds of thousands across northwest Arkansas. From Rogers and Bentonville to Fayetteville and beyond, this lake sustains life right here. Its shoreline stretches for more than 400 miles. Its depths hold everything from prehistoric fossils to modern marinas. It's a place where eagles soar overhead and freshwater jellyfish pulse below. A place where families fish, boat, dive, camp, and connect. This lake gives us so much: clean water and recreation, beauty. So it only makes sense that we give something back. That's why conservation matters, not just to preserve a view, but to protect ecosystems, fish populations, drinking water, and every living thing that depends on this lake above and below. Because what happens on the surface always makes its way below it. And here's something I didn't know before this journey. Scuba divers might just be some of the most dedicated conservationists around. Divers like Roger and Shauna are picking up trash every single dive. We're talking bottles and cans and lures and line and even lost sunglasses and cell phones. Not for credit, not for applause, just because they care. Every dive in their eyes is an opportunity to leave it better than you found it. Because once you've seen this lake from the inside out, you realize how fragile it really is. So yes, this started as a spearfishing adventure, but it has ended as something else. A deeper respect, a new passion, and a renewed commitment to explore, enjoy, and protect one of Arkansas's greatest natural treasures. Beaver Lake is more than just a backdrop. It's a life source, it's a legacy, and I, for one, can't wait to dive back in.